Hey everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive in today, I want you to do something with me. Take a second, and think of the strongest man you know. Maybe it's your dad, a friend, a coach, a character from a movie. Got that image in your head? What does that strength look like? Is he stoic? Unshaken by emotion? Does he handle everything alone, without ever asking for help? For generations, that's been the blueprint. The silent fortress. The idea that to be a man is to be emotionally impenetrable. We're told to man up, to suck it up, that boys don't cry. We're handed this script before we can even read, and we spend our lives trying to perform it. But what if that script is flawed? What if that version of strength isn't strength at all, but a trap? Today, we're talking about men's mental health. And more importantly, why we desperately need to start talking about it. Openly, honestly, and without shame. Let's start with some numbers, because they paint a stark and undeniable picture. Statistically, men are far less likely than women to seek help for mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and stress. Yet, in many countries, men are 3 to 4 times more likely to die by suicide. Think about the disconnect for a second. A significantly lower rate of diagnosed depression, but a tragically higher rate of the most devastating outcome. That gap isn't a coincidence. It's the stigma in action. It's the silence that becomes lethal. The problem isn't that men don't experience these feelings. We do. Deeply. The problem is we've been culturally conditioned to ignore them, to bury them, or to express them in ways that are deemed socially acceptable for a man. Anger? Okay. Irritability? Sure. Working 80 hours a week to avoid going home to your thoughts? That's being a provider. Numbing the pain with substances? That's just blowing off steam. But sadness? Fear? Vulnerability? The feeling of being overwhelmed or lost? We bottle those up. We convert them into something else, or we lock them away in a dark room inside ourselves and pretend the door doesn't exist. And where does that lead? It leads to isolation. You start to believe you're the only one feeling this way. You look around and see other guys seemingly holding it together, so you think, I must be weak. I must be broken. That feeling of being alone in your struggle is one of the most dangerous parts of this whole cycle. It amplifies everything. It turns a manageable feeling into a crisis. I want to be clear, this isn't about blaming anyone. This is about understanding a system. From a young age, boys are often subtly, and not so subtly, steered away from emotional literacy. A little boy falls and skins his knee, and he's told, "You're okay, shake it off, be tough." Meanwhile, he's learning that his physical pain is something to minimize. Now translate that to emotional pain. What are you crying for? Don't be so sensitive. The message is clear, your feelings are a liability. Your vulnerability is a flaw. So we learn to communicate in code. We don't say, I'm feeling really anxious about my job security. We say, work is just really annoying right now. We don't say, I feel disconnected and lonely. We say, I'm just gonna have a few beers and watch the game. We use sarcasm as a shield. We make self-deprecating jokes that contain kernels of real pain. We're speaking a language of distress, but we've been taught to never use the actual words. And this affects every part of a man's life. It strains relationships. How can you be truly intimate with a partner if you can't share your inner world? It impacts parenting. Sons learn from their fathers what it means to be a man. Daughters learn from their fathers what to expect from men. It hurts friendships. How many friendships between men are built entirely on shared activities, sports, work, hobbies, and never once dip below the surface to ask, hey, but how are you actually doing? Breaking this stigma isn't about a grand, dramatic gesture. It starts with tiny, courageous conversations. It's about changing the vocabulary. Strength isn't silence. Real strength is having the courage to say, I'm not okay. It's resilience, and resilience isn't about never falling down, it's about knowing how to get back up. And sometimes, getting back up requires asking for a hand. It's about redefining what it means to be a teammate, a brother, a friend. It's moving beyond "how's it going?" with the expected fine. It's asking twice. "No, really, how are you?" And being prepared to listen without immediately trying to fix it. Sometimes, people don't need solutions, they just need to be heard. Validated. And for the guys watching this who might be in that place of struggle, please know this. Seeking help is not a surrender. It's a strategic redeployment. Seeing a therapist isn't a sign you're crazy, it's a sign you're self-aware and proactive. It's no different than seeing a personal trainer for your physical health or a tutor for a subject you're struggling with. You're getting a professional to help you build skills you weren't taught. There is immense courage in walking into a therapist's office for the first time and saying, "I need to figure some things out." It also doesn't have to start with a therapist if that feels too big. It can start with one person. Text a friend. "Hey man, having a rough week. Can I vent for a minute?" Call a family member. Write your thoughts down in a notes app to get them out of your head. The goal is to break the isolation. To let air and light into that room you've been keeping locked. And for everyone watching, men and women, you have a role to play in this. It's about creating spaces where the men in your life feel safe to be human. It's about responding with empathy, not judgment, when someone does open up. It's about celebrating when a guy says, "I started talking to someone," with the same enthusiasm as if he'd achieved a new personal best at the gym. We need to make that kind of strength iconic. This is a cultural shift. And like all big shifts, it starts with individual choices. It starts with us questioning the old script and deciding to write a new one. A script where a man crying is seen as a man feeling, not a man failing. Where asking for help is a mark of intelligence, not inadequacy. Where our definition of a strong man includes emotional depth, empathy, and the wisdom to know that going it alone is often the hardest, not the bravest, path. So here's my challenge for you today. First, do a quick internal audit. How are you really doing? Just acknowledge it to yourself. Second, if you're carrying something heavy, make one small move to share the weight. Send one text. Have one 5-minute conversation where you're honest. And third, be that safe space for someone else. Check in on your friend, your brother, your dad. Ask a meaningful question, and then just listen. We can change these statistics. We can save lives, literally. But it starts with a conversation. It starts by breaking the silence.